Hey everyone, welcome back to the District 3 podcast. My name is Irvin. Joining us today on this episode 324, we have with us Shayne McKinney, who's running for mayor of Fort Smith. Welcome to the pod, Shayne.
I'm honored to be here. I really am. Thank you for reaching out to me.
You were very fast to work with us and to say like, hey, like I'm down. We wanted to talk to you about your campaign for mayor here in Fort Smith. We also wanted to talk about you being, which I'm not sure if you claim to be a vampire yourself or if that's a title that people have bestowed upon you.
Some people seem to think I am. Some people have thought that about me for a very long time.
Why do you think that is?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I got bitten by a bat about 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It bit me on the finger, drew a little bit of blood, and a couple of years later, people started thinking of me as a vampire, and
okay.
Things progressed until eventually a news story comes out that says that you're a vampire, and then, well, here I am today.
You know, I heard about you. I think it was an article. I saw an article. They used a cool AI picture of you. I'm not sure if you've seen it. I think it was like three different candidates running for office in Fort Smith.
Oh, on the social media, yes, I have.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yes, I have seen that.
What'd you think about the picture?
It seemed all right. It wasn't a terrible likeness.
I thought it looked pretty cool.
Yes, the picture, I believe, may have come from a newspaper article that was written about me at some point and been altered by the AI. But
yeah,
it worked out. It's AI is an incredible tool that can help us to accomplish so many good things.
Mm-hmm.
But like any tool, if you have a hammer, you can use it to build a house, but you can also use it to bust somebody in the head. There's lots of bad things that could be done with the tool. So it's just a tool. How we use it is what determines.
What do you think are is there any negative aspects of being labeled a vampire when you're running for office? Anything that you've kind of stumbled upon or like people have been like maybe not taking you seriously in this race? What have your experiences been like? Well,
I'm sure there are some people that didn't take me seriously at the beginning, but I think almost everyone has taken me seriously now. Any polls that I've seen so far, none of them scientific, but show me well in the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And just general conversations with people around town and business community and others, people that one would assume wouldn't support me because of strange things like vampirism.
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to get plenty of support from those folks, regardless of the perceived problem. And I think this is true in a lot of things in life. And I guess is it okay if I elaborate on this a little?
Yeah.
I tend to elaborate. A lot of times people get worried on behalf of other people that are part of a group. So I find, for example, I'll use a group, trans people, for example. I have several trans friends and even relatives that are close to me that are trans.
Mm-hmm.
Those people often don't mind when you accidentally misgender them or anything else for themselves. It's on behalf of others that they're generally offended. Like, no, you need to be correct because this might hurt someone's feelings or this might cause a problem for someone. In reality, most of them I don't feel like get bothered by that so much.
Unless you you misgender them multiple times, right?
Multiple times,
yeah.
Or and I've definitely seen that occur, and I don't really want to go down that direction too far. What I'm saying is, I suppose a lot of times people worry about the vampire thing because what will other people think, not because they themselves have a problem with it.
I can see that.
It's on behalf of these other people that they think will. So that's their judgment towards others' ability to accept something that leads them to feel like they themselves will have. And I find that to be the case on many, many other aspects of life.
Yeah. And one thing I forgot to mention is that we're in this beautiful room. Can you talk a little bit about where we're at?
So this is one of the houses that I own here in Fort Smith. This will be a Dungeons and Dragons themed Airbnb when I'm finished.
Okay.
But for right now, I use this as my studio space, and I also live here while we're working on finishing out a few final tasks here.
And you said it was like built in the early 1900s?
Yeah, about 1905.
Okie dokie. It's a very beautiful spot. I do also want to talk about how we got here. How did we even start talking? I made a TikTok pretty much hinting that you were running for office here in Fort Smith. I think it said something along the lines of like acknowledging that you're running for office in Fort Smith, but that you're low key also a nice person. kind
You
of
also,
based on what I see on
you also
TikTok.
made a TikTok that implied that I'm a vampire, and you thought that was
Yeah.
funny. And that video kind of went viral for you. It looked like it got a few more views. And
Yeah.
several people tagged me in it. And this is a perfect example of the vampire connecting us together. Had I just been a guy in a vest and a tie running for mayor, me and you would not be talking right now.
Yeah. I thought it was so interesting because, I was making that video, one, to be honest, and saying that, like, watching your videos, I thought that you seem like a very nice guy, very chill dude, very common sense kind of person. And then people started commenting and said, "Oh, like, I know Shane. I didn't even know your name was Shane, right?" And they were like, "Oh, I know Shane. He's actually a nice guy. I've seen him here. I've seen him there." And then you shared it, and the reason why I knew you shared it is because someone commented and was like, "Oh, he reposted." And then your people started coming over the video, and they were like, "Shane's like the best landlord. I've rented from him before. All these different things." How did that make you feel that people were like vouching for you on someone else's video?
I have the best followers. I started TikToking about 2.5 years ago, and I just wanted to correct some misinformation. There are a lot of millennials and young folks that really believe they'd never be able to buy a house. They think the market's different than the way grandma bought a house and the way mom bought a house, and I'm just never going to be able to do that. And that's entirely false information. And it's many times empowering a person to just accept their fate and say, I'm just going to rent forever. I'm just never going to be able to do this. And I wanted to counter that information and share with people how I bought. Last year, I bought 3 houses with no money down and no credit. Literally every single person that's in the United States could have bought those houses legally or illegally. It would have been irrelevant. Anybody could have bought those houses with the deals that I worked out. And
the market's even better in Fort Smith, right? Like there's more affordability.
There's definitely more affordability.
Because I'm from NWA, that's why I say it.
I get it, and that's part of the thing is people want to compare to their grandparents but humans are migratory and humans move for opportunity. I have ancestors that came across looking for opportunities from Europe. I have ancestors that followed buffalo across the prairie and looked for the best place to be for adequate food and everything else. They move for the opportunities to make their lives easier. For some reason, despite us having these devices that connect us all together so wonderfully, we act as though we can't move. We act as though we have an entitlement to be in the place that we live. You can literally FaceTime your mother now. That was Jetsons sci-fi 30 years ago. That was impossible to imagine 30 years ago. That was literally Star Trek and Star Wars. That was impossible, and we can do that. And now we act like we can't move 2 hours away for an economic opportunity. That's ridiculous. And it's an entitlement mindset. So
we still don't got the flying cars, though.
Well, arguably the little quad.
There are those that are, but they're still not like super popular. People are using them. But I get your point, though. I understand what you're saying.
I think we spent the time that we would have spent making those flying cars, making pictures of kittens on the web.
On AI.
Yeah.
So going back to like the whole vampire thing.
Okay.
Is that something that you're gonna use in your campaign? Like, are you gonna emphasize on that when it comes to like campaign material, advertisement?
Anybody that wants to donate to my campaign can make the check payable to Vampire Mayor, and that's what my bank account name will be.
So that's a yes.
I can assure you that yes.
I saw that video where you went to when you went to register everything, and you.
I didn't intend to make that the focus, and it's not the focus of my campaign, but it's obviously a thing that connects me to other people, and it creates interest from your guests as well as others. So I will take advantage of that opportunity.
I like that video because you showed kind of the process of, registering the business for your campaign and so people can donate and stuff, because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't show the process. And sometimes it's even kind of like it seems very scary to even start that process and to know how to even go about running a campaign.
I think our ruling class that has existed in this country, and I use the term ruling class specifically for that, like it to seem intimidating and impossible for normal people to do so. They don't want normal people to feel empowered to run against them. And I think that that's something that needs to be combated, much like being able to buy houses. How do you do this with no money? How do you do this with no credit is important to me. How do you run for office? How do you change something in your city? If you have a problem, with your government, how do you change that? That's something that we need to empower everyone to
Mm-hmm.
be able to do.
So let's talk about your TikTok journey. When did you start making videos on TikTok, and how did they look at the beginning? What kind of videos were you
Well, you
doing?
can scroll back to the beginning ones. I never deleted them, but when TikTok was brand new, it happened to coincide with a plan that I'd had for a while, which was to sell my house in Van Buren, and it went viral. And I'm an internet marketing expert before I got into real estate investing, so I understand how to reach people online. So my house I sold with an S*X dungeon in it. And we advertised it online, and we got to the point that people were stopping in front of my house every day to take selfies in front of the house to prove that they were in the neighborhood with this house. It was millions of people saw this house for sale in Van Buren, Arkansas. The Wall Street Journal did a newspaper article on it. The Miami Herald, all these different newspapers were interviewing me. Podcasts from New York. It was the top 5 most viewed homes on Realtor.com. It was wild that this little house in Van Buren, but it was because of the marketing as well as the interest
Mm.
in that. And TikTok being brand new at the time, I made some videos on TikTok to help with that marketing effort. And then I didn't touch it again for several years.
Did it like at what point did it actually like blow up for you? Did you see it blow up?
So I started again about 2.5 years ago trying to combat some of that misinformation about buying houses and kind of sharing some of the information about being an Airbnb host or a landlord. And people went follow me live while I was cleaning toilets in my pirate house and just talking about what landlord work looks like, because it's a lot different than Lamborghinis and the things that people picture. A lot of times it's crawling under a house. I did a video today where I crawled under a house and took care of something. So getting that real side of things, there's a lot of people that want to educate you on how to invest in real estate, and they just want to focus on the sit in the office, having other people do all this work for you, which is not realistic for most people. That's just not a realistic way to approach it. Most of the time, you need to get your hands dirty, at least for the first few years while you're getting started. So I wanted to bring that reality about, and people liked that. They got on it. It probably was 6 months in, maybe 8 months into doing it before I was monetized. And now we're sitting at about 500,000
Yeah.
followers on TikTok today. But last year I would have had a little over 100,000 at the same time. So we've gone up 5 times nearly in a year. Um,
Have you collabed with anybody, like any other like influencer or person that's doing what you're doing on social media
no,
here in the area?
no, not really.
No interest in that?
I'm totally interested if somebody wants to talk about things. There was an influencer from our area. I recognized him when I was out here yesterday. He drove by, and I told him hello and talked to him. I'm going to an event tonight that one of our local social media creators are doing, but um, hmm, I I don't know. To me, when I'm with somebody, even right now, I want to respond to the things that you're doing and work with you on it.
Mm,
Your content works because of this.
mm-hmm.
I don't want to overpower whatever it is that you're doing. I don't want to take control of what you're doing. I don't really want to feed off of that. I've had another local influencer that needed help with a fundraiser, and I helped promote that fundraiser, something like that I could be specifically helpful on. And if I could help somebody to maybe grow a following for a good reason, I would definitely help to do so.
Where do you think that comes from? Like that will that you have to like want to help people? Like what? Like obviously, there are good people and there are bad people in the world, but sometimes I feel like there are things that mold us in life that make us want to help people. I know I feel that way too. But what is it for you that makes you want to help others?
That I don't know. I've always wanted to be a person that helps, and I think some of us are wired that way. Some of us want to be the heroes. That's probably why so many hero movies are so popular. Is you want to imagine yourself saving a person from a bad situation. You want to imagine yourself solving the big problem and making the big thing happen. And um, as a person who's been responsible and made good decisions and learned self-control, I guess, Peter Parker would say with great power comes great responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So as my influence increases, as I financially improve my situation with real estate and other things, it gives me the opportunity to help more people, whether it be providing a home for somebody that can't afford one to have a place to live, whether it be helping a creator with some kind of fundraiser, helping you with a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
or in this case, helping my city by trying to fix some of the problems that I've seen for a long time, and a lot of us aren't
Mm-hmm.
surprised by. But
Mm-hmm.
most people don't want to go in and rock the boat, so to speak. Most people, when they get elected, go in with the expectation of how do I, slightly steer something that's already in place. Sometimes we need to flip over the table and start over. And the city of Fort Smith has some fundamental issues that the table just needs to be flipped on, and we need to start over.
So let's talk about Fort Smith.
Okay.
So the people that you will be going against in this race are all new people. You're not going against the current mayor, correct? They're
The current mayor is not running.
not running again, not seeking re-election.
We just had an announcement yesterday that Christina Katsavitz is running, which she is a current board of director.
So there's 4 candidates in this race
There
now?
are 4 now, but that was just since yesterday. But we've expected her to announce. She was pretty clearly running for a while.
Okay. So I want to preface this by saying that I've known Mayor McGill for quite a few years. When I ran for office back in 2016 in Springdale, he was very nice to me, held a fundraiser for me at his office. And anytime I've needed him, he's always been there to help me out and helping the Fort Smith citizens that reach out to me. Because I have a few years of history here. My wife is from here. I come here every week to Fort Smith. I'm one of those people that's constantly defending Fort Smith because in Northwest Arkansas, people have egos and they'll say stuff like, "Oh, why are you going to Fort Smith?" or like, "Fort Smith is dying," all these different things. There's some truth to maybe like there can be a lot of improvement, right, in leadership. And I kind of want to know for you, when was that point when you said to yourself, maybe running for mayor of Fort Smith is a good idea?
I generally try to frame a answer in the most positive way I can. That's just my thing. And unfortunately, this isn't something that's easy to frame in a positive way, but I'm going to try. So I don't want this to come across as negative. And also to be clear, like George McGill has helped me with a couple of issues within the city. I want to explain our government type before I answer that question.
Yeah.
So Fort Smith is not a mayoral form of government. We are an administrative form of government, meaning the mayor doesn't actually have any power whatsoever. He can't hire, he can't fire, he can't do all the things you think of running a city that a mayor should do. We are ran by an administrator who is appointed, and the administrator's main focus is what the mayor would normally do in a city. The idea being you'd have a professional administrator instead of a mayor. The problem with this is the administrator inevitably becomes interested in maintaining their job for as long as possible, but they don't get challenged on the job every 4 years. They don't get challenged every 2 years. They have these long-term, as long as they keep their head down and don't rock the boat, they get to maintain their position indefinitely. A mayor has to come back to the table every 4 years and remake that case of why should I stay with this job? And that means they have to be proactive within the community and understanding the community's needs as they change over time. That leads to more likely we're going to have people that are causing problems fired because they're causing problems. More likely we're going to have those things corrected when those corrections need to be made, because if those continue to become worse, that puts the mayor's job at risk. The city administrator doesn't want anyone talking about them or even thinking of them existing. So anytime they eliminate a job or anything like that, that brings attention to them potentially. And so it's the opposite of what we need. Also, the mayor still is the figurehead leader of our city. So the mayor McGill will be sent to go represent us in Singapore, represent us somewhere, and try to make deals and make stuff happen, but then come back here with no power to follow through with those things. So it's very confusing when a business is trying to work with our city and the mayor has come in and said, "Yeah, we want you in Fort Smith." And then the mayor has to come back and start asking an administrator and a board and other people to make any decisions around that. And the mayor is a part-time job, really.
And it's got like one of the lowest salaries in the entire state. I think it was like less than 11,000, I believe.
I think it's more than that, but it's not much. It's definitely a part-time gig. It's not something you can raise a family on or anything like that.
So usually it's like people that have power, that have money, that get that position because they can kind of live off.
Well, we've had school teachers that have done it for a while. One of our mayors when I was younger was Ray Baker. He was a full-time school teacher while he was mayor, and he'd have the school teacher salary, and the mayor was it's a part-time job. He worked full-time teaching all the time, and the mayor, he could do in the part-time work, which is not the way the city needs to be ran. Our city is big enough now. It needs to be ran like a real city with a real mayor making real decisions.
Do the city council people get paid more than the mayor?
Yes. No, I think the mayor, I do believe the mayor does make more than the
city council people
members.
But it's kind of the same as in other cities, what the amount is that the city council people get paid, kind of like what the mayor's getting paid here in Fort Smith.
Yeah,
So it's
they're
like
not paid
part-time,
enough to
kind of.
be full-time, no matter what those positions are. They're part-time jobs.
Do you think that system would ever change here in Fort Smith, so it wouldn't be that way, or is that something that you can do?
That is entirely the focus of what I'm doing. And I'm going to make this announcement next week, but I don't know if this will air next week or
It'll
not.
air next week, next Wednesday.
Okay, that's actually the day that I'm planning to make this announcement
But
public.
you're also live on TikTok, so be careful.
Well, it's okay. And I've talked about this
Yeah.
publicly before,
Yeah.
but I haven't made it like an official announcement. So I've got attorney review right now happening on a petition to change Fort Smith from a mayoral or from an administrative form of government to a mayoral form of government. So we're going to be gathering signatures. It'll take 2,619 registered voters to get a vote on it.
Very doable.
I'm running. And I've collected over 28,000 signatures on a petition before. This is not going to be a problem. And we will have a vote the same time as I'm running for mayor to change our government from an administrative form of government to a mayoral form of government. That change will include significant changes for the city of Fort Smith. Strangely enough, that'll be for the next mayor. That won't be for who's elected this time. So I won't have those powers. I'll still be a ceremonial mayor, just like current. However, we will be setting the message and setting the stage and helping to facilitate the transition to becoming a mayoral form of government for the next mayor.
How do you think they'll be received by leaders in the city?
Some leaders are in favor of it already. Most of them that I talk to are in favor of it. We know this has been a problem. We haven't even been able to hire an administrator in the last year. We've been searching for we can't even find an administrator that wants to come here. We aren't getting the top tier administrators. We know that. Like, it's already, there's plenty of people that understand this has been a problem for a long time and needs to change. And I'm getting support from the business community. I'm getting support from local political leaders, from many people are supporting us on making this change. It really needs to happen. It's needed to happen for a long time, and it needs to happen. So going back to why did I decide to run for mayor? And I know this is kind of a roundabout way to get there, but understanding the governance will understand why this problem is systemic. I make TikTok videos and I make videos on social media that teach people how to do things around their house. I want people to not only be able to afford to buy a house, but be able to afford to maintain a house. Not everybody grew up working on ceiling fans and changing outlets and fixing a toilet when it gets leaky. A lot of people grew up in homes where we call a plumber, we call an electrician. We get those things done now. So people will get into a home and they're stretched thin with their budget from student loans and from all these other expenses than what they would have had before. And then they have to hire somebody to come change a ceiling fan and pay $200. So I make videos on how to do stuff like that. I made a video on how to change a ceiling fan in July. The next day, the city inspector showed up and gave me a stop work notice for doing electrical without a permit. And this was one of several in succession. And I called him up and I was like, look, man, this is getting ridiculous. You don't have to have a permit to change a ceiling fan. There isn't even anything for you to inspect. Plus, you could watch my video, which you probably already did, or you wouldn't be here. Yeah, I watched your video. That's how I found it. Yeah, I know that's how you found out about it, because you wouldn't be able to tell that I changed the ceiling fan otherwise.
That's what I blocked them right there.
So I call, the mayor, I call some other people, and I even call the city administrator. I say, look, you need to get these guys off my tail. I'm teaching people how to do tasks that need to be done. I'm doing things in a right and correct way and a logical way. And for whatever reason, the building and planning department has decided they're going to come out after me every time I make a video. It's actually hindered my content. Still to this day, I don't make as many how-to videos because I'm constantly worried about them showing up and causing me a whole lost day. Because if they show up with a stop work notice, everybody working on the property gets sent home. None of them get paid. We don't make progress. If I've got a family waiting to move into a house, now they have a whole extra day that they don't have a home, or more, depending on what we have to correct with this. And it became absurd. And in talking with other landlords for years, and in talking with businesses, and I've tried to own, or other businesses have tried to go into our area, over and over and over again, we have a gotcha mentality from our building inspectors, where they are looking to create problems. They go into, if I say I'm trying to open this office, well, you can't open that office. Well, why can't I open it? Well, because it's not allowed to do this because of this and this. They don't ever take the approach of, well, how can we help you to open the office? They're constant, and this is systemic. It's been like this for 20 plus years in Fort Smith. These people are not held accountable to that mindset problem.
Which probably helps. Which probably stops a lot of possible progress in the city, right?
Because one of the offices I tried to open 3 years ago, we ended up not being able to get it open, and it cost us probably $70,000 that we put into opening that business, and we just never succeeded. So that meant we didn't hire people. That meant the money that I could have put to houses that would be housing people today,
Mm-hmm.
all that money's gone, and it was gone in compliance costs to a government. And I say it's gone because it really was. The next person that rented the building had to completely tear out what we were already trying to do.
Mm.
And just that extra expense of doing business in Fort Smith versus Northwest Arkansas. And this is just a fact. If you call up and say, hey, I want to open this business in Springdale or whatever city up north you call, well, what can we do to help you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want to do that? Let's see if we can figure out a way. Let's work with you. It's just a helpful attitude versus a how do we stop this from happening attitude. And it's ridiculous to imagine a city allowing that mentality to exist for so long, but it has to change.
Going back to your campaign, what is campaigning going to look like for you? The election is this November, right?
Right.
And what are you going to do to campaign? Like, are you going to be the kind of candidate that goes knock on doors? Are you going to be showing up to events? Are you going to take more of a social media approach? What is that going to look like for you?
The problem with knocking on doors is I have to be invited in.
That's true. But you don't really have to go in, though.
So I don't have, I'm a extremely busy person. I'm not going to have a lot of time to do that type of campaigning, but I am going to create events where people can come out and meet me. And I will be live on social media daily for a couple of hours every day, no matter what. That's something I did anyway. So people will be able to talk to me and get exposure to me, which is something that the other candidates really don't have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can create social media, but they're not going to have that exposure and that following. So that's going to make it easier for me to get my message, I think, and to educate the voters about what I'm doing because people can tune in and follow me for a while. I don't have to make this a 10-second soundbite that you can get on the news, which would be the limitation for most people trying to push this message is nobody even understands that lives in Fort Smith what our government is like, or at least I would say less than 15% of citizens understand the mayor doesn't run Fort Smith. So having to even start from that education level in 10-second sound bites would not work. Because I have an audience that we can tune into for a long time, I think that's what can help us to make this message known.
And this is a nonpartisan race,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
But you seem like someone that's very open, welcoming to immigrants, to every community. That's kind of the vibes that you give off of.
So
right? That's
I'm
who you are.
I'm a conservative leaning or libertarian, really, but I'm libertarian. So I would fall on your Rand Paul style Republican would probably be the closest. If you're politically astute to recognize those folks, would probably be the closest people to my style of thinking. It's still not quite, but that's in the ballpark. So I truly, I love people and want every person's rights protected, no matter who they may be. And I think when people's rights are being infringed, that is a crime, and that is awful. Now, obviously, we have criminals, we have issues that have to be taken care of. Nobody's foolish enough not to recognize that. But I do believe that each person should be treated as an individual and protected as an individual, regardless of their background, regardless of how they got to the position that they're in. They are a human, and I believe in the idea of the Declaration of Independence, which is they're endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights. And I think it's interesting that we use the word unalienable when we're dealing with illegal aliens as the problem, but unalienable rights implies it exists regardless.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So today, while we're filming this, about an hour ago, Northside High School and Southside High School had walkouts in protest of ICE activity in Arkansas. Students walked out of the schools. Here in Fort Smith specifically, a lot of the immigrant community is concerned, scared. Specifically, the undocumented community is scared and concerned. Would you be a mayor that immigrants in our community in Fort Smith, I say our community, but I'm not from here, right? But I'm still part of this community because I come here a lot. Would you be a mayor that's welcoming to immigrants, that immigrants can vote for you knowing that you're not going to be, persecuting them or doing things that harm them or that separate families and scare families and intimidate families that are immigrant families?
So I absolutely support our immigrant communities here. All of our families were immigrants in the United States, unless you're a pureblood native, which are very few and far between. We all have immigrant backgrounds. I think it's very sad for the communities to feel unsafe in the communities now, and I think that that's tragic. And they do a lot of positive things and a lot of good work. The mayor position doesn't offer any ability to help with
Mm.
that in Fort Smith. Largely, the type of
Yeah.
government we're had, even if I wanted to, there would be no power that I could have. So I don't want to paint a rosy picture of, come, I'll protect you. Like I don't have the ability to do so. Um, I, but I am sympathetic to the cause. There's not anything that I could do that could be helpful, and I don't want to, try to paint anything with rose-colored glasses and say it'll be great. We'll all, walk on streets paved with gold or anything. That's just not the reality of it.
Mm.
The reality is that our nation has chosen a government and elected a government that promised to take a strong stance on this issue, and now they're taking a strong stance on that issue. And
Mm.
that's and I think there's a lot of support against that now. I think a lot of people are seeing what's happening from that and are starting to say, wait a minute, I don't know that we really wanted what we got. And I
Mm.
think there's a lot of questioning for that, and I'm hopeful that that's the case. But
A lot of us knew that was coming. I
yeah,
just want to say
well,
that. So,
it's
so that's why
yeah,
that's
it's
why we voted against it.
yeah.
But
The signs were definitely there, and I'm against powerful governments affecting people as individuals, no matter what they may be, on all sides of things. So I don't think I wish there was an easy answer. I wish there
mm,
was an easy way to fix this. But it took us lots and lots of time of people not addressing the issue for a long period of time to create the
hmm,
situation where we have right now.
I agree.
The bottom line is that our nation was built on easy immigration. There wasn't even a legal versus illegal. I reposted a video earlier from one of our local historians talking about Ellis Island and immigration and what that really meant. There wasn't really documentation, much more than a ship manifest when a person arrived from on Ellis Island, and that represents probably 15 to 20% of the population of our country. And
Mm.
people think of that as like it was legal at the time. There wasn't really any documentation that occurred. Now we've created a process where it's years and it's difficult. And it's not just the United States. And that may be part of the issue. This is true if you want to immigrate into European countries. You have to go through sometimes years and years of paperwork. You have to be certain ages. You have to have certain financial backing in order to immigrate. So in some ways, the United States is more free on immigration than a lot of European nations and other places. But we haven't simplified the process to be able to accommodate the workforce that we need. And when I say we need, I'm trying to hire people to work on my houses. It is really hard to find people to work on houses. And most of the people that will work on houses that have the skills and are here to do those jobs are people from Mexico and south of the border. That's where those people come from. And they came
Mm.
here seeking that work, and we can employ those people. Now, do we hire local folks to do it? Yeah, I've got a couple local people that do it, and I'm happy to have them.
Mm.
It's not us or them. It's not these guys or these guys. It could
Mm.
be everybody. But if you have a need for labor, and you're willing to pay and you can't find somebody to do the job,
Mm.
eventually you have to import somebody to do the job.
Mm.
And you'll see this in the chicken industry. If you're in the Springdale area, I believe you are.
Mhm.
Obviously, Tyson imports an incredible number of people to work in the chicken houses because they can't get enough regular American workers to do
Mm.
those jobs. They just can't.
So for the folks that are on the fence of who to vote for in Fort Smith in this upcoming election, what are some other things that you can tell people, like, I can actually do this
Right.
as mayor of Fort Smith?
So there isn't many things that I can do as Smith. Again, it is an extremely limited power position. I don't even have a vote on the city council unless there's a tie. So the mayor position is very limited. And the reason to support me isn't because of what I can do as mayor. It's because of the message we can send to our city about the changes and the pro-business and those things that I can do. It's because of the negotiation and the ability to bring in business and to alter our city and explain to people how we're altering our city. The ability to represent us in a meaningful way as a community. and bring back growth of business and bring back real investment into the city. And people will say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, it can be as simple as houses. I've brought in 8 families this year from outside of the Fort Smith area by more than 2 hours. A couple from in-state, many from out of state. I've got families from Pennsylvania, Virginia, California, Colorado that have relocated here to live here and start their life over. I'm already doing that. I'm already talking every day about how great of a community and how great of an opportunity this is. That's what I do all the time already. Having a person who's interested in how do they get the next water slide.
I saw that video that you made about the
how do I
water
get
slide.
the next payday off of some water slides on the taxpayers or whatever else? That's not what I do. I'm not that person. I'm not connected to those circles.
Let's talk about those water slides.
Sure.
You made a video about it.
Yeah,
And I saw you go over there to where the slides were at, and you said something about how like millions of dollars were spent.
Yeah, $4.2 million was the agreed upon amount to do water slides. Now, if you follow me, you buy houses with contracts, you do paperwork. Okay, you do paperwork. That's how you do things. You sign a contract, you agree to it. Our city spent $4.2 million with water slides from a company without paperwork. Think about that.
And what were they trying to do with those water slides?
$4.2 million. So they were doing a water slide expansion to our water park. And to be clear, the water park's there. I'm supportive. I want the water park to exist.
Is it like the Parrot one?
Yeah, the Parrot Island. So it's a cute little water park, a place for families to go and hang out for a day. You know, it's not going to draw somebody from 5 hours away to come hang out at it very much. But it, you know, for locals and for people in, you know, a 2-hour radius, it's a thing that people will travel to. And we'll get some Northwest Arkansas folks that'll come down. Have you ever come down for the water park?
I haven't, but I've seen videos of it and stuff.
Yeah, it's not.
I also can't swim, so
it's not.
It's also a problem.
You need to work on that.
And I know there's a joke out there of Mexican American not being able to swim, but
is there really?
We're not going to go there. But back to
it feels like you kind of went there.
Back to the whole water slide thing. So the water slides are just kind of there,
so they bought these and then they didn't install them. The company didn't install them. There's no paperwork. So $4.2 million. We have no water slides. They're just sitting out there, and they've been sitting out there for a couple of years now.
What's their reasoning as to why they're still out there?
Nobody knows.
Okay.
So finally, they came out a couple months ago and said, "Well, we need 2.7 or 2.8 million more dollars to install these." Well, that would have been nice to know when we started. They put it out for bids. Actually, they put it out for bids trying to get somebody to do this, and nobody bid low enough. So then they ended up negotiating a deal with a local contractor who's never installed water slides before to do this. And there's huge expectation that they're not going to be able to do it for the 2.8 million, but they've already agreed to spend that. So they're going to spend as much as they can. And then if it's not finished, where are we at? Then it's going to end up becoming an $8 million project. You can mark my words. It's going to be $8 million by the time these water slides were in of taxpayer money, while we're not taking care of the basic fundamental things. I have a video last year of somebody kayaking right out here on the street you're parked on, kayaking.
While it was flooding?
Floodwaters not being controlled, which we've had a mandate by the EPA to take care of for years and years and years, and our city keeps not doing those things. And it's ridiculous. We're trying to develop a downtown historic district, which is really cool. And has the potential to be amazing.
Beautiful.
And Parrot Island is on the complete opposite side of the city. Why not take that money and invest in something down here at least? It has a greater return on taxpayer dollars. It's going to have, it would have a much greater impact to developing an entertainment district and something that people could be a part of. So it seems very questionable on leadership.
What are your thoughts on the Marshall Museum?
So, funny thing.
Because I have my thoughts, but I'm interested to know what you think.
So funny thing, Marshall's Museum, first off, I don't recommend to my guests when they come here. I recommend the Miss Laura's Museum. There's several cool museums in Fort Smith, but I don't think it's that interesting. If somebody wants to go see it, that's fine. But before that came to Fort Smith, I was in the business community then, and I was literally a part of the meetings that early on were trying to bring the Marshall's Museum to Fort Smith. So I was in the very first meetings when they talked about that. The company that I was working with ended up building a website for the U.S. Marshals Museum on the usmarshallsmuseum.com and bringing it to Fort Smith, like all that was done through the companies that I was working as part of. I was involved in some of the early fundraising meetings. I remember the very first meeting when the fundraising was coming in, and they talked about how much they were going to need for it and the expectation of it. But in hindsight, I really think that was a wasted effort, and I think we could have done a lot better. I think there were a lot better uses for our city than that. And not to say that there isn't some interesting history there. I just don't know that it justifies an entire museum like that. And it's kind of boring. I don't think it's very well executed.
I get what you're saying. I share similar thoughts. Obviously, I'm not from here, so I don't want to go too much into specifics on that. But I just look at Fort Smith and I see a lot of there's a lot of possibility of doing a lot of cool things here. There's a lot of good people here in Fort Smith, right? And people that want opportunities here, want to stay here in this town, and then sometimes feel obligated to leave, because of better opportunities out of the area. I'm guessing you have put thought into that. You've thought about like, what are some things that Fort Smith needs to do to keep people here?
Okay, so the cost of living brings people here. That's a great selling point. It's cheaper to open a household here or to start a household here than it is in almost anywhere in the country. Although, to be clear, our prices went up 24.7% on median houses last year. That's the highest increase in Arkansas that I'm aware of so far that I've seen. That's 25% increase. So this is a short-term thing. Like right now, we have people locating here because of the low cost of living. But if that continues for 2 more years, that's gone. That will no longer be a low cost of living. Then why do people come here? Then people need to come here for what they can do, the job opportunities, all of those things. So obviously business development has to be a part of bringing people here. The other thing that I think is kind of key, and this is, people talk about there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. What are we going to do? Locals always feel like there's nothing to do. And there have been places like the Temple Live that had great concerts that I would go to, but they're closed now. A lot of the Garrison places that used to have various shows, they aren't there anymore. But this problem isn't unique to Fort Smith. This problem is in every city across the country. There's a decrease in the number of people going to live events. There's a decrease in the number of people and as a result, some of the venues, some of those kinds of things are going away. So then what do people do? What become the interesting things? For me, I'll go play Magic the Gathering tomorrow. Like there are things that I can go do. But the kinds of entertainment, the kinds of things that humans are spending their money on, and vampires, that's shifted over the last couple decades. And our economy hasn't represented that very fully yet. Not in Fort Smith, but not in other places.
Is there some things you would like to see here that are not available right now in regards to like entertainment? Anything that you can think of?
Well, there'd be many types of entertainment that I would enjoy seeing, concert venues that are more weather controlled, that you could have a big enough concert for some things. We have the convention center. We have a couple places, but I feel like we could probably use some more large event centers. In reality, again, I'm libertarian leaning. These are the responsibilities of businesses. In my opinion, it isn't the city going and spending money to make this happen. It's how do we attract a Walt Disney company or somebody that invests in things people do? How do we attract somebody that knows how to get the people of this generation that now don't do things? How do we get those people out? That's the answer. Government, I don't know if you've noticed, they're bad at things. So you ever go, government isn't even good at getting me tags for my vehicle. Government isn't good at enforcement of existing laws. Government is incredibly inefficient. Why would we want them being in charge of what we're going to be going out to do on a Friday night? Why would we not want the individuals that are good at it? The people that are good there. What's the advantage of doing that with government? I guess let me turn that question on you. What would be the advantage of government leading that versus individual companies and people leading that?
Yeah, I think it's best for businesses, and I like to challenge, people here in Fort Smith to create cool things,
right?
For them to create what they want to see, right?
I, as an individual, have 4 Airbnbs that are heavily themed and destination-y for people. And I have people literally coming to Fort Smith. Like there was a person on a road trip They were in Roswell and they were going to Virginia, and they didn't need to come through Fort Smith. They went 3 hours out of their way to come through Fort Smith in order to stay at my Star Lab, my science fiction themed Airbnb. They thought it was a cool destination. They saw it online. They didn't. I created a destination in just a place that people stay overnight.
I saw that one where you have like a coffin in one of the rooms.
Yeah, the Vampire Den Airbnb.
What's in there, by the way? What's in the coffin? You didn't show in that video.
You'd have to stay if you want to see.
Okay. I'll have to look for it, because
Good question, but
I was looking at the video and I was waiting for the reveal where you were going to open the coffin, and then you were like, you closed it, and I was like,
if you stay, you can see what's in the coffin.
Okay.
Otherwise, no spoilers.
Okay, one day. What other themed Airbnbs do you have?
So we have a garage, a chop shop. So this was literally a chop shop that people would steal cars, take them there, process them, and part them out or sell the cars. So we have that garage themed. It's kind of like a 90s garage theme with like Snap-on Tool Babe, Calendar Girls, and cars, stuff like that all through it.
Like Route 66 kind of.
Yeah, then we have a pirate themed Airbnb that's it's all piratey. And
the one that had the coffin, what was that?
That's my Vampire Den Airbnb.
Okay.
Vampire Den, yes.
And is that the one where like there was one video where you were filming, and then at the end of the video, the camera stick that you used to film was just floating? Like you disappeared from the view?
That's a difficulty I have with older mirrors. Some mirrors are made with silver, and it's a bit of a challenge, but it just makes getting ready a little bit more difficult. But most mirrors now are like this one. It's made with aluminum, and it's no problem.
What about like interaction with garlic? What is that? Like, does that do anything to you?
So I'm a carnivore. I don't eat any plants. I haven't eaten a plant in a long time, almost 3 years. And garlic is a plant, so I do not like it. I do not want to have anything to do with it. For that reason, the carnivore diet is amazing, though. Highly recommend.
So I've thought about that. I've seen a lot of videos, people doing that, and how it's helped them. How does it help you specifically?
So when I started the carnivore diet, it was in July. It was
talk about like chicken, right? Chicken and
only meat.
Okay.
Only meat, and high fat items like high fat animal items like butter.
Okay.
Eggs. I can do eggs. But so I started this. First week is misery. You go through withdrawals from all the plants you're addicted to. The next week, you kind of feel all right. It's not too bad. But day 14, I was working on a house like I do now. And I would work until I get tired. 4 or 5 in the afternoon, I'd be tired. We'd quit. We'd go home. And I looked outside and it was dark. There were stars shining. And I thought, oh, that's weird. So I go home, say, sorry, honey, I didn't realize it was so late, that thing. Then the next day I go to work and I'm working and it's 8:30 at night. I'm watching the sun kind of setting on the horizon and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I've not been tired since I've been carnivore at the end of a day's work. I could work nonstop through the day. It's one of the strangest things. The mental focus is better. There's just tons and tons of benefit that's been incredible. And that's why I haven't stopped. But the energy is to the point you can't even imagine. And it took me a few days to even realize it was related to the carnivore diet. It was just, this is new.
Another fun fact that I learned about you, and I think you can tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe I made this up. You're also a martial artist, right?
I am.
What did you practice?
So I've got 35 years of martial arts training. I started with ITF, which is a form of Taekwondo, not really Olympic style, but more traditional Taekwondo. That's what Chuck Norris would have done, as well as Tang Sudo. So I've done those. Then I shifted into jiu-jitsu. I did over 10 years of jiu-jitsu training. I've done some Sambo, and I've done some Muay Thai, and I've done some other training as well over that time.
I mentioned that just because I want people to know to not try you, because you can probably kick butt.
Well,
right?
Yeah, I can, but generally speaking, you become an expert at how not to have to do so.
That's what I see. Like people that like know how to fight, they tend to figure out ways to not fight, right? They're trying to avoid that, but then they're ready if.
3 years ago, I had somebody attack me at walk-ons here in Fort Smith. I was waiting on some paint to mix at the Home Depot, and I was there at the bar, and it was like 4 p.m, me and my wife, and there was a mentally unhealthy person or somebody there that decided he wanted to attack me for some reason, and he grabbed me and pulled me out of the bar stool. And there's this secret desire every martial artist has, if you've really done it for a long time, which is to have a roadhouse moment.
Yeah.
where you just get to unload all of your skills
Everything you've
on
learned.
like a whole room full of people, and there's
Which
no chance of you talking your way out of it. You don't have to feel bad about it.
which Roadhouse? Patrick Swayze?
Is there another one?
Yeah, there's a new one that came out a year ago
I had no idea.
with
Okay.
Conor McGregor.
I don't watch very many things.
Okay.
So is that one any good?
I haven't watched it yet. The Patrick Swayze one's good though.
Yeah, Patrick
that
Swayze
one.
one's great. Pain don't hurt. So I wanted, I thought for a moment, this is going to be it. This guy's starting a bar fight. When I turn around, there's going to be chairs breaking over people's heads, and I'm just going to have to fight the way out for my wife to be safe. And it was just this one guy that was clearly not mentally fully there, older gentleman. And as he had grabbed a hold of my hand as he pulled me out. So I twisted his wrist up and kind of created some separation. And then he came and grabbed me again, and I twisted his wrist really hard to kind of create some pain and some distance. But I was very calm, like I am right now. It's not one of those things where I'm afraid. My brain I've done it so long, I'd already calculated out all the different scenarios, and it's like I'm in complete control of this. So I was very calm. And I didn't ever think of that as being a weakness in a situation like this, but it was. Mm-hmm. So I was super, super calm. And the person that was sitting next to me assumed that I didn't realize that this guy was trying to punch me and that I was in danger. And so he jumped in front of me to try to protect me from this guy that I had everything under control. Nothing bad was happening. And this guy jumped in front and like reached out and punched the guy in front of me and knocked him backwards. And then I was like, no, I got it. But by then the other guy, and ended up on the ground, and the guy that attacked me ended up getting a hold of him because he did jujitsu only, which there are some really good things about jujitsu. I love it. But I can tell you, if you only train jujitsu on the mats in competition, you need to get out of that. So he pulled a guard on this guy, and the guy that attacked me grabbed him by the testes and twisted, and he ended up injured very badly. From being grabbed, which is not something that would happen in a competition or on the mats when you're in this. It's something you don't practice training against. So the guy wasn't prepared for it. And so that was sad. This guy got hurt in some ways because I was too calm and I didn't indicate that I understood that I was in danger. So I've kind of changed up my training to make it more apparent to everybody else that I know what's going on if something like that were to ever occur again, but that may never happen again.
So I got some goofy questions too.
Any goofy questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, because this podcast is serious, but it's also very lighthearted.
Okay.
We like to talk funny stuff as well. I asked on Instagram for questions from people, and obviously they were all kind of goofy, right? So I waited till the end to kind of ask these. So I kind of want to hear your viewpoint on certain things.
Instagram questions. I'm excited.
First one, are you Team Jacob or Team Edward?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Man has not seen Twilight. Have you ever seen Twilight, the movie?
I have standards. I've never seen Twilight.
Man.
No, I
kind of had a feeling that one.
Self-respect. I'm sorry.
I kind of had a feeling you weren't going to be able to answer that one.
Yeah.
Someone asked if this is a very like straight to the point question.
Okay.
Do you drink blood?
I have.
Do you want to emphasize on that a little bit more?
No, it's much more mysterious.
Okie dokie. Someone also asked, like, are you able to see your own reflection in the mirror?
As long as it's a modern mirror, yes.
Explain that again. You said there's a difference between modern and silver.
Modern mirrors are made with aluminum backing, whereas Victorian mirrors were made with silver backing, which is when Dracula was written and vampires couldn't be seen in mirrors. That would have been more that era.
Okay. Someone asked if your partner is also a vampire.
Let's just leave that up to curiosities.
Okay. The other question that I got was, do you have capes? Do you own capes that you wear?
2 hanging up right there. Good question.
Are they like any kind of special type of capes, or like how did you get those? Amazon, or what did you buy those
Amazon.
at?
I mean, where else would you buy capes now? You don't buy them at Walmart.
That's true. I mean, unless it's like Halloween season.
Maybe a Halloween, I guess, but yeah, no. I think they're Amazon capes.
Someone asked if you have other vampire friends. And what do y'all do when y'all hang out?
I don't really have any other vampire friends that I can think of. So,
is there any other vampires in Fort Smith? I wonder.
I'm sure there are.
I feel like Eureka Springs, you could find vampires and like witches and stuff.
I would imagine so. I'm sure there are others in Fort Smith. This is a thing, okay? Let me ask you. Let's rephrase some of these questions and make them less goofy, okay?
Okay.
I entertained you, so
Yeah.
do you go hang out with other humans just to do human stuff together?
Yes, I do.
Are you sure?
Yes.
So you are like, hey, you're human, I'm human. Let's go hang out. Do you ever have that conversation,
Yeah. Sometimes.
or do you just go hang out with people and not even give it a thought?
Depends who you're hanging out with, but I get where you're going with this.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, it's not even something you really think about. You don't really go out of your way. You don't know all the qualities about the people that you're around. You just go with the people that you enjoy and do the things that you enjoy doing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you might have hung out with other vampires. You just don't really notice. You just hang out with people. That's
Yeah,
kind
we're
of
just
what you
out
do.
doing whatever we want to do, and yeah.
Someone asked, do you dress up for Halloween? If so, what do you dress up as?
So I went as Gaston, and my wife went as Belle this year. So I had a great video of me dressing as Gaston, and that was awesome. He's my spirit animal. He was the hero of that story, you know.
Which movie is that?
Beauty and the Beast.
Okay. I've seen both of them.
Yeah,
You've seen the new one too, right?
No.
You haven't? Just want to stick to the old ones?
I don't watch. I just don't watch very many things anymore. I work a lot now, so I don't really have time for watching things. But yeah, Gaston, you know, he was there trying to protect her from this person, this monster that kidnapped her, and she got Stockholm syndrome. And what do you do?
Okay. And this one wasn't really a goofy question. It was just a normal question that people asked. They were like asking, what's your favorite vampire movie?
The Lost Boys, without question.
I haven't seen that one. I've heard of it.
You now have a homework assignment.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, that's definitely something you should do.
And what kind of music do vampires listen to?
I listen to almost anything that isn't.
I didn't say you. So you're a vampire then? I wasn't talking about you, but I said vampires.
I don't know.
Okay.
Good one. That was a sneaky question.
Kind of call yourself.
I feel like I got trapped here.
I didn't say anything. But for the folks listening, once again, you're running for mayor of Fort Smith. Elections are November. What day is that? November 6th? November 5th? One of those days, right? November 8th?
I don't actually know what the day is. I probably should know the day, but I figure it'll become more relevant when it gets within a month or so.
So people don't have to vote in a primary for you. They can vote. They'll have to vote in the general election. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing you're going to be very visible in the next few months where people can come and ask you questions, not just on TikTok, but like in public, town halls. You seem like the kind of person that's going to show up to the mayor debates. Yeah.
Anything that, any opportunity we have, I will be there if at all possible. You know, I obviously have lots of different projects going on. We're filming a movie in April and some other things, but provided I'm in town, I will be available. And if anybody is a critic of me or wants to be critical of me for anything, if you send me an email to shaneisgreat@gmail.com, include the word coffee in the subject line, I will be happy to sit down and we can do a live video and you can ask me all the questions and put me on the spot and teach me why I'm wrong, because I don't think I'm perfect. I think I'm flawed. Mm-hmm. I think all of us are flawed. And that means that I could be wrong about things. And that means if you can teach me something that I'm doing wrong or that I'm incorrect on, I'm open to change. And I think that is something that for whatever reason we don't value in politicians anymore. We want a politician that is exactly the same and will not change. But like if new information comes about or things don't work out the way you expect and water slides cost more than you think, you should be able to backpedal and say, you know what, never mind. Let's just sell the water slides off, cut our losses, and not spend millions more. But our politicians get committed to go down a road, and then they can't change their mind. Mm-hmm. They have to double down on their mistakes. You know, there's a lot of politicians that are regretting the decisions they've made even in the last year, and they're still doubling down on those same issues. Mm-hmm. But I'm a person who can change. I'm a person who can alter course, and I would like to be informed if I'm doing something wrong or if I could be doing something better.
That's good to hear, just because that is sometimes one of my concerns when it comes to politicians, you know, the fact that people rather please a party than do what's right for people.
Right.
And being the kind of person that if you hear new information and it seems valid to you and it's backed by evidence, that you're able to change your mind is an important characteristic of a good leader. Where can people find you on social media? Obviously, people are watching on TikTok right now, so they'll know where to find you there.
Shayne, Shayne. Shayne is great. Anywhere you go, just search for that. You'll find me. And
do you have a website yet?
I have one that's halfway finished. It may be finished by the time this airs.
Okay.
So it would be vampiremayor.com.
So that kind of confirms that you identify as a vampire, right?
I never said that.
I mean, if people follow the clues, they can kind of have a
if you're Sherlock Holmes and you think
so you said
put it together, you have a brilliant deduction, Watson, or whatever, but you might just be pretentious and jump into conclusions.
Let's do like deductive reasoning. So if someone wants to donate to your campaign, what do they write the check to?
Vampire Mayor.
And the website is called
vampiremayor.com.
And I have you listed on my phone as Vampire Shayne. So,
well,
those three things kind of make sense. And
yeah, maybe.
But if you want to vote for Shayne, he will be up for his general election in November here in Fort Smith, November 5th, November 3rd. We got our own Jerry over here finding the information. Shout out Jerry Redwine. November 3rd, you'll be able to vote for Shayne. Please make an educated vote. Go to people's websites. Go check their Facebooks. Go check out Shayne's TikToks too. Do what I did. I'm never the kind of person that like judges based on labels that people put on other people. I kind of want to know who they are as individuals. Shayne seems to be the same person that he is on TikTok that I've seen on social media. I don't think there's anything fake about him. He's very clear with what his intentions are and what he wants to do. So I hope that you really consider his campaign, but go look at everybody else's social media. Go look at everybody else's websites. That way that when you go to vote on November 3rd, you know for sure that you made the right decision. But I think people will be very pleased, to hear who you are as an individual in this podcast and when they start following you on TikTok.
Yeah, everybody that's on TikTok right now live too, that website may not be fully operational yet, so be careful. But yeah, I already see some people going there. That's fine. It's mostly there, but it's definitely still in the works. For a person who spent 20 years of his life building websites, I'm a little slow to get to my own.
I feel that. That's what happens sometimes. It's like our own things that we take a while, but
many of my tenants live in better houses than I live in because I finish theirs before they move in. And within mine, I'm always in a project. Just the way it is.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Shayne. I appreciate you being here and for making this work. Very last minute, but we're here and hopefully people got to know you more and hopefully people support your campaign.
Well, appreciate you very much. And also, I'm really glad you kept an open mind. I didn't know what to expect with your little video. I thought it was funny. That's why I shared it. So I appreciate your sense of humor.
For me, it's never bad intention. For me, that's why I mentioned in the video at the end, I was like, below key seems like a nice dude. Because that's what I thought. I was never the kind of person that was like, oh, this person's just not taking it seriously. No, I went to your videos. Like you actually put thought into a lot of things. So I appreciate you for that. And I know that several people that will be listening to this podcast or watching it live on YouTube as well will also see this and say, hey, this is someone that I should vote for. Vampire gimmick or label, whatever it is, aside. They
so
see
it's
you.
A gimmick now.
Not for you. I'm just saying like for people.
Oh, okay.
People will.
I'm just saying that if I were Sherlock Holmes, I would say, aha, it's a gimmick. You see, that I'm not a vampire.
Yes. Smooth. But people will be able to vote for you in November. But I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for allowing me to come to your house and record. For everybody listening, that was Shayne. He's up for election once again in November. So if you feel that he's a good candidate for you, make sure you vote for him. But that's the end of the episode this week. This is Irvin with the District 3 podcast, signing off.